Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to be here with you getting into my 2025 annual budget. I'm putting it in my new monthly budget planner from Erin Condren. And I'm excited to show you what this looks like on the inside and what I have put together for my annual budget. An annual budget for me is simply the monthly budget times 12. So I stay very fine-tuned in what bills we pay and what we need to stop and start and things like that when we are looking at our bills month to month and if changes need to happen. And we did make quite a few changes this year and I'm excited to get into this. But this is my theme for January and I just love the balloons and the celebration. I like the New Year's style of stickers or digital files I can use for stickers for personal use, and I absolutely love it. I do have a plan to put another like washi strip right here, that kind of thing, and then down here somewhere I will put income minus expenses. We'll see how that turns out. I might put stickers here. I'm not sure what I want to do just yet. Now here at the top you can see it's monthly, annual, and if I want to write any notes, and then expenses here, monthly and annual, and then expenses here, monthly and annual. So the annual line is a little bit bigger, so because they're usually larger numbers, which is fine. And I hope I can get it all on here. So that's what we're working with. Now, if it looks exactly like my monthly budget, it's because it pretty much is. I take my monthly budget and then I put it here on paper and then I multiply it by 12 here for the annual amount. I just want to see, do I have enough income coming in for the entire year to cover all the expenses I want to have? I'm putting the minimum amount of income, the lowest I can think of. Now, the first 3 income streams you see here will go up by probably 3%. And the reason is they're adjusting for cost of living for the military retirement my husband gets for 20 years active duty service in the Navy, the VA disability that my husband gets to be compensated for after being in 20 years in the Navy. And then we have a son, adult son with SSI who pays us rent. I did get a great question the other day. Does my son have to pay rent? The short answer is yes. When we started the process with SSI, in order for him to get his money, he has to take care of himself. So he's paying his 1/4 portion of the mortgage, of the utilities, of the groceries, of the things. Now, do we take all of his SSI money? No, we do not. He does get the max amount, and we take a certain amount, and then he keeps a certain amount, and that amount he uses for recreational, if he wants to buy a video game. Sometimes I take him to different cons to get autographs or meet and greets and stuff like that. We'll probably we live in Kentucky, so we'll probably go to Lexington Con this year, and there's a couple of actors I think I want to see there that's coming. But I'm excited for that, and I enjoy going to these cons with my son, but he gets to save up his money to do something special like that, and then we keep teaching and training him at home on life skills and stuff like that, but he does not work, and it's hard for him and because of his autism and things like that. So yes, we do have to take rent, and we can use the money however we want. If we don't need it, I could put it in a savings and then I just leave it in there. But I do use it to help compensate for all the utilities and the mortgage and stuff like that, and the groceries. Mostly groceries because he's a good eater, so But yes, that is how we do it, and it works well for us, and it is what we are asked to do. And we take care of him. And, if there's something above and beyond, we would definitely help him and take care of him in that way as well. So I'm going to use the numbers that I know in 2024 that we are using for military retirement, VA disability, and rent and salary. I'm using 2024 numbers after January when all the cost of living has changed. I'm pretty sure salary is not going to change very much. It is an estimate because it's not to the penny every paycheck period, but it'll be really, really close. So these won't be 100% accurate because we know there's going to be a 3% increase across the board adjustment, and we'll know that January, February timeframe, and that will all get settled out there. So we're just going to use this year's numbers and make our best guess, and then when we get the new numbers, we can adjust from there. Military retirement, as of right now, is getting $1,898. Sorry about that. Erasable pens are my best friends. Okay, $98. And I think I need a new ink and 12 cents because that looks pretty sloppy. Okay, so next I have is VA disability. My husband gets $2,428.91 every month. We'll do the annual in just a second. Our son pays us $803 for rent. Again, that's all the rent, the mortgage, well, not a quarter of the mortgage, but his part of the mortgage, his part of the utilities, and his part of groceries and household items and eating out. We pay for everything for that. We don't split all that up unless he wants to go out and buy something for himself. I totally support him, and he definitely does that when he wants to. So that's what we have there. And then salary, we're guessing at $2,828. Now, this is a month, so that is the salary times twice a month. My husband gets paid the last day of the month and the middle of the next month. So last day of the month we use as our first of the month checks, and then middle of the month is the 15th, and then the 15th is when he gets paid. And we're going to take these numbers and multiply them by 12, and this will give us our annual budget. So let me do these totals, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I know how much it is monthly and what it is annually. So we're going to take the monthly and add this up. All right, so we are looking at a monthly income of $7,958.03. So that's what we have monthly. I'm going to multiply this by 12 and make sure, and then I'm going to go back and total this up and make sure it's accurate. But I should have made that white block a lot bigger, but I didn't. Okay, $95,496.36. So let's make sure this totals correctly. So military retirement for the year is $22,777.44 plus the $29,146.92 plus the $9,636 and plus the $33,936. $95,496.36. All right, so we are accurate there. So this is the minimum amount we know we'll be working with in the year of 2025. Still looking at $95,000. This could go up. It definitely will go up based on cost of living adjustments, but I don't want to estimate for that until I know the actual number, and I will be fine with that. Now we're going to move on to the expenses. So we know how much we are getting at a minimum for the year. Now, what does it look like for our expenses? What changes have we made? All the things. Now, our mortgage in 2024 and in 2023, for 2 years straight, we put a $550 principal-only payment to the mortgage. We were taking a year off from that just because we need to fund Roth IRA every month for the next 15 to 20 years to have a decent retirement in addition to these two streams of income my husband will get for the rest of his life. So in order to beef up our retirement, and I have something for myself as well as my husband has a little more going in, we are doing maxing out our Roth every year going forward for the next 15, 20 years. In order to fit in the budget, I had to make some changes. One thing we sacrificed is no more $550 principal only payment for at least a year. If we can start doing it again before the end of the year, or if we can make principal only payments around $100 throughout the year every month, then we will try to do that, but there is no guarantee on that. So right now, this is what it's going to look like. Our mortgage right now is $1,972.96. That will change. So this is just a low amount. I don't know what it's going to look like, because when you have a mortgage every year, they assess your property values. And then if they're high enough, they'll have to adjust your escrow. And if you have an escrow shortage, then you either make a payment for the shortage or it gets rolled into the mortgage over 12 months and then it's paid throughout the year. So I don't know what we're going to do, because I don't know what that looks like until after January, I think. I might get it before the end of this month of December, but in January, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to base it on the number I know right now and go from there. An annual perspective of this would be $1,972 times 96 cents times 12 months, and that is our principal and interest that we normally would pay. That is minimum requirement. We're putting $23,675.52 annually to pay our mortgage. Now that's going to, like I said, it's probably going to change. It's probably going to go up, but right now I'm not going to be concerned with that. I just want to know what the minimum is that I know and can count on today. So that's what we're working with. We did get internet only with our Spectrum. So I'm starting with our mortgage. You can see mostly housing, then insurances, then streaming, then our spending categories, sinking funds, Roth, and then tithing. Not that we tithe less, we don't, and it's not important. It is a priority. It's our first fruits. It is who we are as a faith-based family. But in order to kind of get a good idea of what's meant for the home, what's meant for insurance, what's meant for streaming categories and stuff like that, I had to align it, and I just happened to put tithing at the bottom. That's not how we actually run our budget, so I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. We're not doing this last. It's just where I happened to put it. Spectrum internet is part of our home, and that's $109.99, I think. Yes. $109.99. This is internet only. I have no news that it's going to go up. So we're going to take the $109.99 times 12. And this is what we're paying annually for internet. $1,319.88. So when you look at a number and you think it's kind of small, it's not that big a deal monthly, but then you look at the total for every month that you're paying, it may look different to you. All of a sudden you're like, whoa, that's a lot of money. I do agree that's a lot compared to where we used to live, but this is what it costs around where I live right now. They have put in new things like fiber optics through our neighborhood, but I'm not willing to go there just yet, just because it's a new company and they need to work the kinks out before I'm willing to even consider them. So I'm going to stick with what I know, what works, and that's what I do here. Hulu, which is Hulu Live, Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. That's what the package we have. And this is what we stream everything. $101.75 is that. And that times 12, and cable, internet, or cable and streaming services, however you want to look at it. All our cable is streaming, so that's how we look at this. And it looks like it's almost as much as the internet, $1,221.00. So that is what we're paying for 12 months, and this is what it is monthly, so that makes sense. Our water bill. So I have been spending $80-some a month on water for the last 3 months. We had a leak in our basement, and we didn't know it was happening because we don't go down there very often. We should do a monthly check down there more frequently for pipe leaks and stuff. So our averages were off last year. I'm going to bring them back down now that the leak is fixed, and by January it should be roughly closer to this number, which is what it was before, and I'm going to do $50 instead of the $80 I was doing before, now that I know why the price was higher for our water bill. And yeah, it was crazy. So $50 times 12, that's $600 a year is what we're going to earmark out of this budget for the spending, and that should cover everything for the year. AT&T is our cell phones. We have 2 phones, and we're on our last year of paying the lower price for the, what do you call it? Leasing of the phones, and they're our son's phones. We bought them when we moved here in 2022. It was a 3-year lease, and we got a big discount, a $20 discount per phone by leasing it, and so that's why they're not paid in full, or I would have paid it in full when we got here. So AT&T right now is still sitting at $285.81. Let me just write that down. And times 12. So unless I pay cash for a phone or I lease a phone later this year, which I might do because mine's getting a little glitchy, but I don't want to. If I can hold out one more year, I'm going to, but if not, I will have to get another one. We are spending $3,429.72 to talk on the phone, text on the phone, take a bunch of pictures, look at Facebook and Instagram, do our social media stuff for the channel as well as all the things. And for 4 adults, unlimited text, unlimited everything. That is what we have. It's a lot of money for what we're wanting, and whew, I'm not sure how to feel about that. So, if we all owned our own phones, we might do something different, but we don't, and yeah, I have to think about it some more. Vivint is a home security system that we use. We love using them. I have, I think, a link in the description where you can get a code to get a little bit of a discount if you choose to use them. The equipment is not cheap. We bought ours brand new in 2019, and we've already paid off all our equipment years ago. But this is the service for the use of all this equipment, where it has all the sensors for smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector, as well as the alarm going off and things like that, and the monitoring service for that. And they'll call you through that panel immediately. They'll get a hold of you on the phone, however they need to figure out if you're safe and okay. And I really appreciate them. And I've had them in 2 different states and 2 different houses, and it's worked out just fine. A tech came by and put them all in for us. So $65.82 is what we've been paying monthly. And not that we're in a neighborhood that needs a security system. Right now it's kind of a wildlife camera, but we like knowing when people are coming to the door, salesmen and stuff like that. And we like having that security while we're gone, that nothing's going to happen. If there's a fire, if there's any problem at all, we have something that really takes care of us, and I really like that. For the year, for the monitoring service, $789.84, that added security. I think that is really good, so we definitely want to keep that. Electric, I'm going to average for the year $175, just to offset the cost of higher bills in the really hot months and the really cold months. We have electric heat and cold or air, and so I do have a fireplace where we have propane, but for the most part we use the electric air conditioner and heater. So $175 times 12 is $2,100, and that's the cost of that. Geico, right now we are paying $177. I hope this does not go up next year. I really don't. Our cars are getting so much older they're depreciating in value. I just put like $4,000 worth of work into my Nissan Armada 2013, and that's close to the value of it. So it's running great. It wasn't engine or anything. It was like suspension stuff, and we got it fixed, and we should be good to go for many years to come. And we're only at 140,000 miles, so we're really good there for an 11-year-old vehicle. And so yeah, I want to keep it quite a while longer. I'm hoping by next year, 2026, we can start putting money aside, a few $100s a month aside to put on a down payment on a vehicle. So we'll see how that works. 177.24 times 12 is $2,126.88 a month, or a year, for car insurance for 2 vehicles. Keep in mind it's 2 vehicles and good insurance for where we live. So I think we're doing pretty good. Life insurance one is my family, my husband, myself, and one of my sons. He hasn't quite aged out of it yet. 87.56 times 12, and that gives us 1,050.72. And then my oldest son, he aged out of our life insurance family thing, so he has his own, and we're the beneficiaries of that, so 33.16, and we take care of that. We don't, because we commingle his rent and everything, we don't really charge him separate for that. That is just something we have for him just in case. It's sad to think about, but yeah. And for the year, we pay $397.92. USCCA is my husband's bill. It's part of an insurance. That's $39.17 times 12, and that is $470.04 a year. Amazon Music. My husband is still using this, and he still swears by it, so I am not going to stop because this is what he wants, and it works for him. So $10.59 times 12. When you use a product so long and it's all saved the way you like it, you don't want to let go of it. $127.08 a year is what we're spending on that streaming service. HP Instant Ink, $7.41 is what we're spending. 741 times 12. And that gives us $88.92. I don't care how little, if it's $7, if it's $3, if it's $80, $100. Nothing is too insignificant for your budget if it's a reoccurring bill that happens and you are paying for it. So I know this is a charge that's going to come out. I know what it is right now, and we're going to budget for it because we want to make sure how much we have the right amount of money. The budget is going to be tight, I will tell you that. So you'll see that in just a minute. I will do the totals after I finish filling all these numbers in, and we'll come back to that. Apple.com, like this one, it's only $2.99 a month, and you might not think, oh, that's not a big deal. It is a big deal because you're paying it, and you need to know, is it worth $35.88 a year or $2.99 a month? And if it is, then go for it. If it's not, then you need to save money somewhere. Then there's $35 a year for it. We're always talking about how car insurance can save us like $400 a year or $400 or whatever. By switching, that's great, but we also need to know what the smaller numbers represent as well. So that's why I always track that. So YouTube Premium, that's what that is. YouTube Premium, you can add 5 emails that are on YouTube watching videos, and that is $24.92. What this does is allow us to watch YouTube without commercials, and it was very important for my sons because they were having issues with both of my sons are autistic, and they're both adults. 20 years old, one's about to turn 26, and they were struggling with the commercials and having emotional difficulty and all the things. Now that we've taken it out, it's not so bad, and they have their own email accounts, and then we have me and my husband have our own emails account, so we use 4 of the 5 abilities to use, and it's all under one IP address, which is our Wi-Fi here at home. And so that price right there for us is priceless to not have the commercials, because especially when there's elections going on, local or national, it's just it was really hard for my sons. So anyways, moving on from there, times 12, and that is $299.04. So just under $300 a year for that. Yeah, it's still definitely worth it. This is a non-negotiable for us. That's another thing. When you're talking with your family and you and your spouse or partner or whoever you're working with on the budget, what are your non-negotiables and why are they a non-negotiable? And make sure you're really communicating well between one another on how truly important something is. Somebody may say, no, I'd rather have the free stuff and the commercials, and I don't mind the commercials. You may have a different reason, like we do with our sons, and it's just more beneficial to pay the extra for not having commercials. So I totally get that. Now, if you're trying to do a debt payoff journey and you're scrimping to save every penny possible, then maybe it is time to be okay with the commercials for a period of time, and then when the debt's paid down or paid off, then you can go back to paying for premiums. So that's that. I haven't decided if I'm going to do an annual or a monthly subscription, so I'm just going to do the monthly right here. We're doing $9.99 for the Dash Pass. It still saves us $20 a month because we're saving in there's no certain fees aren't being charged onto that, and so we're still saving more money than that we are spending. It'll be even cheaper if I do the annual pass. So if that changes, I can change that later. But $9.99 is what we're spending right now, and we've been using DoorDash in our area because we live on the edge of rural and city. So we're in the county where we live. We're surrounded by cows. If you don't know, we're in Kentucky, and there's farmland all around us, but it's a beautiful area that we live in. But it's close enough to where we have grocery store 2 miles down the road and things like that. So we're not too rural where we have to go an hour away to get groceries or anything, but on the edge of it. So that's where we're at. And so Dash Pass and DoorDash is a great option for us for delivery drivers to bring us our favorite meals when we don't want to go out and we're just wanting to eat at home. It works for us. So that's why we do it. Dash Pass is $119.88 a year, and I can compare that now to what it will be if I do an annual. And if the annual is less than this, then we could save even more money. And yeah, I think that's a good idea to think about. Now, this area has changed quite a bit. I have forced our spending categories to fit within the total budget. This may change over time, but this is what I know with the numbers I have right now. So what we're going to do is take grocery household. Now, grocery household starting in January 1st is going to drop down from $1,600 a month to $1,450 a month. So we're going to have to be very strategic on what we're buying, what meals we're covering, and not just pay attention to the coupons and get things when they're on sale, but actually pay attention to what we actually need versus what we want to stock up on. So that is going to be something to think about. $1,450 times 12, we're looking at $17,400. And that is for the annual. And that is a great number to look at. Are you spending way too much on groceries and household items if you combined it that way? always budget high enough to be able to buy cleaning supplies as well as the food and things around the house that I need. Now, breaking the habit of restaurants is going to be really, really hard, and lowering it, we'll see. Right now, I'm trying to force a $425 a month times 12, and that's $5,100 a year. So that's an eye-opener of how much you're spending a year on eating out, and that includes tip for us when we go out to eat, if it's a sit-down restaurant and there's a tip involved. So that's kind of where we have our money set right now. Miscellaneous, I dropped significantly as well, $150. $150 times 12, 1,800. So there's that. Yeah, in order for this budget to fit, this is how the numbers turn out. Will he stick to this? I don't really know. I hope so. I did keep gasoline to be at $250. And you really can't change that because gas prices always go up. That's about $3,000 a year. Then we have copay. I always do $100 a month, and that's $1,200. Make sure my number's right. Yeah, $1,200 a year. It's way more than what I need for medical prescriptions. But my youngest son will be transitioning off of our insurance, and we're going to have to figure out what to do with him. He's not on SSI. We've been through the courts. It's just nothing's moving very quickly with the Social Security Administration, so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we can help get him a job. Maybe I can help create a job here at home that he gets paid from. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what next year brings us, but I'm going to worry about that after the new year. Sinking funds. These are annual and quarterly expenses that I have coming out. Right now, it's looking like I'm averaging $400 a month for this combined together. Now, it's not to the penny, but that's a good estimate to cover what we need. And I reduced our sinking funds significantly and got rid of a few categories. I think up to 5 categories this year, because we knew we just weren't going to have the money next year. We just knew we didn't have it. So this is what we're doing. So 400 times 12 is $4,800. Roth IRA. This is the reason why all the spending categories, these spending categories and sinking funds changed. It's because we have to put into the Roth IRA. Now, my husband gets maxes his out at $8,000. We are over 50, so we can do that. And there's 2 of us. Okay, so that's $1,600 a year we're trying to put in. You divide that by 12, and we're looking at $1,333.33 every month. Now, this is a continuing number, and I get that, so I'm still going to put $16,000, even though it's not quite $16,000. If you take that, it's fine. I know that by that dash on top. If you remember your math from grade school, $16,000 is what we're doing annually, and so that'll be adjusted, and it's coming out January 1st. So Greater Europe Mission. That is a tithe we chose to keep. We'd love to give more, but we can't right now. So Greater Europe Mission is a missions organization where friends of ours are living overseas, abroad, and we fund them every month. And this is part of our 10% tithing for our giving and tithing based on our faith. We have been in great prayer about this, and we still feel this is something God is allowing us to do, and we are grateful that we can. We love this family. It's a family of 5. They're raising their children over there, and we are funding that. So that is $200 and forgot the number. It's $56.75. I wanted to give more. I can't, but I didn't want to stop giving it all. So what we give every year to them. Now this, they actually get $225 of this, and the rest of it pays the fee to process using our debit card. So we pay the processing fee times 12. And so every year we pay $3,081. And we're happy to do so, and we are thankful that God is still allowing us to do that. Now, our tithing for our church, what we've done is we've taken this number, 795803, and then we're subtracting out the Roth IRA, because typically we do, when we tithe the surplus of what we have, and we tithe 10% of our net, not our gross. Now, it's a personal thing. It's up to you and God to figure out what you should tithe and how you should tithe it. When I first started tithing many years ago, 2017 was the first year we really got into tithing and was consistent. That year we did $75 a paycheck, and my husband only got paid twice a month. He was in the Navy, and that was nowhere near 10%. As my husband's income grew over the years, we could pay 10%, and we could give to so many organizations and really take care of so many people. And now we need to take care of ourselves. So we're subtracting out this $1,333.33, because normally if with a company or organization, Roth is usually taken out of the paycheck before it's taxed and all this stuff. Well, we're doing it post-tax. We prayed about it, and God's like, yes, this is what I want you to do to make this work. I'm like, okay, so we're tithing 10% of this number, and that is $662.47. So we already have the $256. I don't know if it's going to come out exact, but $256.75. We know we're tithing. Nope, it turns out the same. All right, and then we are tithing this number right here to our church per month. So that is $405.72. We dropped our Pregnancy Help Center, and we dropped God's Pantry, or God's Outreach. It's a pantry. So what we're going to do is throughout the year, through the months, if we have everything taken care of and we can give, whether we give our time, whether we give monetarily, however we can give, because we know giving to the church actually automatically gives to those two organizations we were supporting in addition to the church. So we're still supporting them through the church, and we're just not supporting them separately from the church. And throughout the year, we can make opportunities to support them, whether we volunteer at the pantry, whether we donate something to a Pregnancy Help Center, whether monetarily, or we have like clothes or baby stuff to give, or whatever the mother may need, things like that. We can do that. So that times 12 is $4,868.64. And that is the annual for the church. So that is what we're giving and tithing. That's what's changed. Our mortgage changed. Water is fixed. What else is there? And then the spending categories changed. So that was the biggest changes that are happening for 2025, and our monthly budgets are going to reflect that going forward. So let's see what the numbers turned out. So we're going to start with the monthly categories. That's going to be a lot of totaling up. So I think I'm just going to go through and add all the numbers up. Okay, I have my numbers totaled up and everything is looking good. I want to take the monthly income minus the monthly expenses and see what that number looks like. So we're going to use this blank space down here. I'm going to turn my planner sideways based on the way I'm sitting, so I will turn it back for you to see correctly, but give me a second. So right here I have income minus and okay, so income, had to make sure I had enough lines here, is $7,958.03 minus $3,116.46 and minus 4,000. Oops, 4,000. I'm not sure what I wrote there. Looks like a 4, 5, and 7 all in one place. All right, $4,808.70. What is the total there? Let's do the math. All right, I am showing $32.87. That is how tight the budget is every month. Now, again, there are some increases in income when it comes to the cost of living adjustments for the new year, but I don't know what they are yet, so that number will be slightly larger. I wouldn't say by very much. So, but it will be different than what the first year actually is going to look like once we get through January and February and everything's adjusted and accounted for. So that is the monthly. Here is the annual. Let's see what that looks like and how close the numbers are coming. Now, you did probably notice that I totaled these up and I didn't put the change. I wanted the proper change here because that's a repeating number and that could throw it off by pennies. I'm not worried about the pennies. The annual is what I'll be looking at the most, and I do understand what the Roth IRA is doing to the numbers, so that's fine. So we're looking at $95,496.36 minus the $37,397.52. Glad I changed my ink out because I would not have been able to finish. And then the $57,704.44. So let's see what the annual is telling us and if it looks much different than the monthly. So here we go. Okay, we're looking at, for the entire year, a positive number, $394.40. That is what we want, is a positive number, because we do not want to be over budget for any point in the year of 2025 with the numbers being this close. So let's see if these numbers total about the same. Times 12. Yeah, there's 4 pennies off. So I'm okay with that because I know it's just pennies and this is going to go up and that number is going to change anyway. But the good news is there's just right now, as it stands, a little over $30 a month left over. That helped when I changed the water from 80, now that I know it was a leak and we've got it fixed, to 50, back to 50. That's what the average was before every month. And I have everything else pretty much settled, and adding in this Roth IRA and adjusting all the other spending categories that go along with the monthly budget. So everything looks good. I'm really pleased with it. Again, going into the new months, I am definitely going to be taking whatever's left over at the end of the month, and instead of rolling over into the next month, I'm going to be paying off what little debt I still have on my credit card. Hopefully by then it's only like $1,800, which is what our vacation was here recently. If not, I'll have to pull from savings somewhere to pay it off on it's just sitting on the credit card. I still do all my spending categories and some of the bills on my credit card, and I pay those off weekly during my weekly check-in. So I am paying towards the credit card. I just got to get rid of that debt in addition to what we're spending, and that takes some finagling, and sometimes it's not worth it. So eventually I'm going to have to get rid of that debt, and that'll be fine. I'll have to talk to my financial advisor about that, on how to move the numbers and pay that out of the savings that we have going on right now. But I'm kind of waiting on that one. But the annual budget looks good. We are in positive numbers, and we should be able to make it work. And we know there's a little more income coming in than we planned on for 2025, because these are based on 2024 numbers. Hopefully these bills do not go up in cost. If they do, we will have to make the adjustments along with the cost of living and all the things. So other than that, we look pretty good. So I am pretty happy about this. This is going to be the sticker pattern I'm going to have for the month of January. January is the beginning of the new year, and New Year's Day is on the 1st of January, so I like seeing those kinds of things, and I love the pattern that I found and chose for this month, so that's what it looks like. I also have a new font I'm using, and it's going to be consistent from the top as well as throughout, but everything's pretty much the same as far as how I laid out the stickers. I just chose a different font, and then I chose the pattern at the top. And I really like how it turned out. Purple's one of my favorite colors, and I just love using balloons and stuff like that for annual budgets and New Year's and all that stuff. And I just think it turned out really, really pretty and easy on the eyes. So that is where I got that. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to this video. I absolutely would love to have you as part of the community and grow the channel. I would love to get monetized. So if you would like to help in that, please go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, set that notification bell, and that way you'll see all of my videos for the budgeting for next year and see how the numbers work. And hopefully it helps and inspires you and blesses you in some way to do and create and continue to budget for yourself and your family going into the new year. I hope you have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never